If you're thinking about becoming a webtoon artist, don't. Well, not until you watch this video. Because what nobody tells you is that the path to become the ultimate webtoon creator, it can either change your life or it will just burn you out completely and you won't touch art for like 10 years. I've seen insanely talented artists quit because the webtoon game is too strong, and I've seen newer artists I don't know what else to call them blow up, and the difference has almost nothing to do with skill. So the real question is becoming a webtoon original worth it, and are you playing the game right to elevate yourself? So let's dive into this. All right. So if you guys are completely like surprised by this, don't be, because we're going to be looking at Reddit. This whole conversation stems from a Reddit post that I saw that I was just like, "Oh, wow, this is a really interesting topic." And so I hope that you guys, involve yourselves and join the discussion to share your perspectives and your opinions on what we're about to talk about. I just personally feel that this is a topic that can um like new artists and even artists who have been in the game for a while can really struggle with. And so whenever I find discussions like this, I'm super excited to have them with y'all so that we can kind of just like talk about it and workshop like our perspectives on working for a corporation, because sometimes I think there's a disconnect between like the artistry of making something creative and working for a corporate mindset, like where the whole nobody cares about anything but the bottom line. So let's go ahead and jump on over to this Reddit article. Let me make this full screen so that you guys can see this. And so it is titled, and I'll have it linked in the video, "Is it worth being a webtoon artist?" So let's dive into this, which this is a very cool illustration. I don't know if it's the person's art. I haven't fully read this. I decided to hold off and read it with you guys on stream. So let's look at it together. So here's a little bit of background. I've been a professional artist for 10 years and started out in traditional manga. Okay, we've got a mangaka. Those, if you know, you know. Manga manga creators are built different. I put my heart and soul into creating a professional quality comic and made the decision a few years back to launch it on Webtoon. Well, I now have a good amount of content, but I'm hearing horror stories of the way they treat their artists. And I'm also seeing more people express negative views about the Webtoon platform and its content. Okay, so let's pause right there before we get through the rest of this, just because like this one paragraph sparks so many ideas in my head. And I just want to say, like, I feel like sometimes people forget that yes, Webtoons does work in the creative space, but at the end of the day, they are a corporation. And corporations do not care about the art, in my opinion. They care about the product. And I'm not saying everybody in the Webtoons Corporation only cares about the bottom line, but at the end of the day, they are running a business, and a business wants to make profit. And if it's not making a profit, then the business isn't viable, which means why would I keep investing money into a business that's not viable? And that's just the logic behind running a business. Like at a certain point, there is instances where people do run businesses because they love them. Like we see it all the time with like mom and pop restaurants where like they are in buku amounts of debt, but they just get so much joy from running their bar or their restaurant. And it's like, was this the most sound decision? So I'm not trying to necessarily judge anyone's profession in that sense, but I'm just trying to make a obvious comparison where you can see like sometimes there's a bit of a disconnect where it's just not viable, and sometimes it's better to cut your losses and move on than to stick it out. So going into this from the very beginning, I feel like everybody should be skeptical working with webtoons. I'm like, do you guys agree with this? Let's do a poll. Let's do a poll. Let's see what you guys actually think about this. Because okay, hold on. I feel like the poll urge has taken over. All right, should you work with Webtoons? And this is generic, so take it however you want, interpret it however you want. This will be like a yes or no. I guess we'll do yes, no, maybe. Yes, no, maybe. All right, all right, all right. So let's go ahead and start. Okay, and so here's the thing about this. So add any context you want to this. You could say yes, you could say no, you could say maybe. If you want to explain in the chat, that's awesome. But like my whole process on this is just like entering business with anyone. I don't care if you're renting your first apartment. I don't care if you're buying a car. I don't care if you're loaning money from a friend. Anything that's like a business factor is something where you should be somewhat serious, somewhat leery of, because there's just so many variables that come up that can like really affect the outcome of the situation. Exactly, Kaylee Blue. Too many variables. So, oh, hey, drama, what is up? So, just thinking about this, I'm like, sometimes, yes, they are in the art field, but also like still a business. So another thing that they said, I'm hearing horror stories of the way they treat their artists. Obviously, I feel like any profession that is in the creative field, you always hear horror stories. So it's not surprising. Like if Webtoons, if people were like, oh, Webtoons is amazing. Oh, Webtoons is amazing. And that's all I ever heard, I would think it was a bossing say situation. I'd be like, hello? Like, where are the disgruntled people? I don't care what it is. I am the type of worker that goes into any job where I feel like I'm going to be a little disgruntled because it just is how it is. I think there's a lot of dynamics to weigh, but I think going in with the rose tinted glasses is the thing that really burns creators out because you don't count the cost before you make the decision, which I would be interested in what context this creator, like, are they a professional freelance creator? Because working for yourself is so different from working for a corporation, in my opinion. And this kind of applies not just to Webtoons. Like, I'm applying it to other, like, companies that are in this space. So like Monta, Lezen, Global Comics, any place that's going to offer you a contract to pay you for your work. I'm not saying that you shouldn't take it. I'm just saying don't go in and think like they're going to be your best friends. Danny said, I choose maybe because they do have a big platform with a lot of readers. I completely agree with that. That is a very sound strategy. Day Day said, it's a lucrative opportunity, but you have to be mindful how it will benefit you. If the costs outweigh the passion and money, then reevaluate if it's a right fit for you. I think those are very, very wise words. Okay, let's continue to read. It says, I've made this whole thing specifically for Webtoon vertical format, and switching back to traditional horizontal would be a big problem at this late stage, but the story is really important to me. I care how it hits people and who reads it more than I care about how popular it is or how much money it makes. So to me, that kind of contradicts itself because you say, I care how it hits people and who reads it more than I care about how popular it is and how much money it makes. Oh, wait. Okay, I misread that. I was like, wait, that's a contradiction. No, it's not. So they're saying that they care about the reader experience more than popularity and money, which, if that's the case, like, you could stay a hobbyist. And like, I'm trying to be very transparent in the way I speak about this because like working for a corporation, Webtoons cancel series all the time. Like, there are tons of series that don't have a season 2, and it's not because the creator did not want to necessarily do it again. Are there instances where creators are like that? Absolutely. But the thing of it is like Webtoons can be pretty cutthroat too. Like, you think about Shonen Jump, how like some series would only get a few episodes and then get canned because it's not making the money. I feel like Webtoons is kind of like that in a lot of instances, and I feel like they might start making seasons for unknown, untested, high risk creators. Their seasons much shorter so they don't spend as much time or effort on those creators, or they lock them into a very basic contract where they're not getting any of the benefits of being original. Is basically you're just stamped as an original, but they're not going to promote. You're not going to get like a really nice salary. You're not going to get a lot of fast pass. Like, I could totally see that. Like, that is the business brain in me, because like I'm just thinking about how ruthless you can get with these contracts. Oh, drama, thank you. Yes, please remember to like this video and to support the channel. I would so appreciate that. So I see this person's perspective already. They're saying that they want to be a professional, they want to get paid, and they care about how the story hits readers, and they care more about just producing a good story. So they said, I suppose I'd like to discuss the pros and cons and what people still value about the platform. Is it worth it? Are you, as a reader, starting to feel unhappy with Webtoon, or do you feel that it is still worth being a part of? All takes are welcome. Picture for tax. Picture for tax? What does that mean? Guys, clue me in. Like, I'm so lost on this picture for tax. This is the ultimate confusion here. Like, hello? Okay, I would, since this person asked for everyone's takes, if you do have a take on working with Webtoons, you can say it in the chat. And since I don't ever show chat in my video, like, if you want to be anonymous, I won't read your name out loud. I'll just put like anonymous and then say like your whatever you want to say. And then that way nobody will know that you said it. Okay. Means people post a pic rather than always posting text. God, Vero, what would I do without you? Okay. So this person said, no, I don't know what oh, it's a promotion. I'm like, I don't know what that is. Okay, they said, oh. So someone, Cam Things, they said, as a Webtoon creator, I don't know if they mean their original or Canvas or what, but let's roll with it. I think it's definitely worth posting there. Webtoons is by far the leading platform, and in terms of a built-in audience is massive. Okay, let's pause there. I think this can really vary, because sites like Lezen have a huge built-in audience, and they force their readers to pay after episode 5, episode 4, 10, whatever, is very quick on. And so my point with that is, wouldn't you be making more money because every episode is paid for after episode 5? So if people are fast passing your latest episode, you're always guaranteed money, whereas Webtoons is free and you're not always guaranteed that fast pass money. So and like Lezen, like, stuff be blowing up on there, like a lot of like manga edits and like those repost edits of things, they're literally like Lezen series, and we all know what's on Lezen. Like don't side-eye me too hard. Hey, Raccoon. So I'm just saying, like, there are other platforms out there that you could work a niche in, and if you were able to get a contract, I feel like you could easily blow up. So, but Webtoons is the biggest, I think, free platform, maybe that's the right wording, because sometimes like we exclude these other manga companies for some reason, but they're also viable options for professionals. Like was it Manta that was accepting like creators? Like, they had a post not too long ago that was like, apply to be an original, basically. So I'm just saying, like, there are options. Oh, let's end the poll. Let's see what it says. Okay, it didn't appear. I'm going to finish reading this and then I'll read out the results of the poll. So, Webtoons is by far the leading platform, and in terms of a built-in audience is massive. In my opinion, not posting there is shooting yourself in the foot. Posting on Canvas does not affect you at all. You are not contracted to them and you own all your rights. Okay, I agree with this take, because sometimes I'm like, Yeah, why aren't you taking advantage of Canvas? Like, do you hate Canvas that much? But like, it could be the thing that could like literally jumpstart your whole career. So I'm curious. I'm curious. Okay, so the results. Should you work with Webtoons? 80% said maybe, 10% said yes, and 10% said no. Oh wow. Like so many people are on the fence. They're like either or. Are you said too many mini platforms and they seem to disappear often. Well, no, I'm not talking about the mini platforms or the newer platforms. I'm talking about the platforms that are established that have a built-in paid audience. Like Tapas that has like solo leveling, they're making money. Like they are a paid platform. Lezen. I'm trying to think of the other like why is Monta? There's other platforms, and my mind is just not working. There's like at least 10 platforms that you could probably seek out that have been around that you could apply to. So that's why I'm just like like you'd have to have a very specific reason to avoid posting on Canvas. Like I feel like even posting like just a couple of episodes to funnel people from Webtoon Canvas to your Patreon or your website or something would be worth it. Like you're not losing anything. Hiram said Canvas my beloved. Vero said honestly the only thing keeping me from posting is the amount of censorship I have to do without making a comic with Webtoons in mind beforehand. I mean, I guess Vero, does your first episode have a lot of risque stuff in it? If not, you could post the first episode and then the next thing you could be like, for a more in-depth, for the next episode, go to my Patreon or something. I don't know. Okay, so they say most people have issue with Webtoon when it comes to Webtoon originals. People who are contracted to Webtoon and paid to produce their comic. If you make it that far, be sure to read through the contract carefully and hire a lawyer to look through it. Otherwise, just stay on Canvas and do whatever you want, however you want. Okay, they kind of ate with that last paragraph, like not gonna lie. Like I definitely feel that there are like no matter what people feel or what people want to say, like Canvas and originals are not the same. Like, and the rules for originals and the rules for Canvas are way different. So like it's a whole nother ball game if you want to be original, to be honest. Sub said, does Webtoon have actual humans censoring Canvas comics, or is it somehow algorithmic? So I can't confirm 100%, but what I will say is I definitely think that they have both. Like in their oh my good grief. In their like little junket or whatever, their press release, they did say like they have an AI program. I can't remember what it was for, but my point with saying all of this is Webtoons uses AI. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do have some sort of AI program that does the censorship, and then maybe it like flags something that it thinks is wrong and then it sends it to a person to read over depending on how complex the situation is. Because I do think there's like auto flags, and then I think there's like flags by a human. Okay, let's move on. Oh my good grief, there's tons of more comments. Okay, let me read through this next one and then I'll read comments. I've had some success with Canvas in the past, which is a big part of the reason why I've leaned more towards Webtoon. But until now, the end goal was always to reach originals, with the thought that pay would be more consistent, allowing me to post more consistently. However, I'm starting to think it would be better to earn a bit less and tell the story I want to tell rather than risk it becoming shortened, losing passion for it, or having to change things in a way I wouldn't have done alone. I think the lawyer thing is a good shout. I can't say I wouldn't be tempted, but I don't want to ruin my life. I have experienced health issues from overwork before, which is why I've shifted toward Webtoon over print. Thanks for your input. I greatly appreciate it. And please feel free to send me the name of your webtoon if you fancy another supporter. Okay, so that's the original poster. Okay, cool. I like that they're commenting back, and I like that they're adding more context to their own story. So they're talking about they have health issues, which I feel like so many of the really popular originals all talk about how intense like being an original is and how it does affect their health. Like Uo-chan, the creator of Unordinary, has talked about their health issues, talking about hair falling out, talking about like feeling weak and sick. So I and like even mangaka started dying a lot, and I feel like, hey, sorry, and I feel like it's because the workload and the stress is so much, like having to meet those deadlines are so intense. And we even saw creators like the, I forget her name, but the creator of Midnight Poppyland, how they made a post about how they were trying to balance their work schedule, workflow, by switching over to only posting 3 times a month instead of every week, which I'm like, that's a much more manageable balance to work. Like, especially if you need time off, having 1 week a month off would be amazing. I also think that they talked about pay being consistent and allowing them to post more consistently. I think there's pros and cons to this, because yes, it will be consistent pay, but is it truly a livable wage? And livable wage is very circumstantial, because like if you live at home with your parents, no matter what you're paid, unless you have, responsibilities, I feel like for the most part, your parents are going to cover majority of the bills. You might have your own few bills that you pay, but you're probably not going to pay, like, even if you paid rent, you're probably not going to pay like a large amount of rent or a normal amount of rent. So I feel like consistent, like it all depends on what you need, because like for me, I feel like $800 per episode just would not be enough to support me and the bills that I have. And I live in a cheaper state in the US than most other places. So I personally feel like it would really be pushing it. It would be really hard. And like there's so many variables like as an adult that I'm just like, it would be hard for me to just be like, yeah, let's just roll the dice. I mean, could I do it? Sure, but I'd have, if it didn't work out in a little while, I have to pivot. So that's where I'm just like, you really have to understand your own finances. Like if you're talking about monetary and talking about, what you're getting paid, like there's so many things that affect the end result of what you get paid, especially in the US, like being a W-9 versus a 1099. 1099, your employer is taking out no taxes. So like you might calculate, hey, I'm going to make 50K this year based off of this $800 per episode or whatever. But then that taxes hit and you're like, oh, I'm only making 40K. And then you end up owing the government like $10,000 in taxes all at once that is due like immediately. Like that's diabolical. Like, so then are you going to hire an accountant? Are you going to keep up with it? Like there's so many things that happen that involve like it's sometimes it's more than just how much you're going to make. Like there's a lot to be considered. So I'm not going to belabor that point anymore. I feel like I talked a lot about that. So okay, let's see what you guys are talking about in chat. Okay. Oh my good grief. Like y'all are having a whole conversation. Honestly, the only thing keeping me from posting, okay, read that one. Subset does Webtoon. Okay. So Lucian, hello. When I got an episode removed on Canvas for violence, a human told me the offending panels. Okay, confirmation, humans do review. So like I said, I think it's a combination of both. Pollo said, I'm wondering the same thing about the human review. Vero said, usually it's the violence, if any, or even partial nudity that used to be allowed on Webtoons back in the day. So I had to add censored that were part of the comics world in order to fit. I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess it depends if you think it's worth it, Vero. Do you think like you'll reach more people by censoring your comic and putting it on Canvas? I think that's probably what you want to think about. Annie said, I do believe viewers will also report Webtoon Canvas comic for censorship. Agreed, agreed. Lucian said, so you can message them about what is wrong with your panel and they can tell you. Okay, so we've got a lot going on about the censorship. I'm glad that you guys are filling in some of the gaps for people and questions that they might have. Vero said, I think the biggest negative is losing the ability to draw your IP for a few years after your comic ends / gets canceled. Okay, so this is my thing about this. I personally feel if you are working on a comic for multiple years when you're with Webtoons, you should be working on another idea so that when that comic ends, you can either pitch a new series or you can immediately pivot and tell people like, this is the last episode of X and my new comic will launch on blah blah blah. Here are some sneak peeks of it. Like, and then if you need to pick it back up, it'll be like Mangi and Let's Play. Like, she left and then she had like a triumphant return to Tapas. Like, her fans were like down bad for it. And I mean, you just have to play the game of feeding your fans and keeping them well fed. You're gonna lose some because, like, you know, maybe they don't want to check out your next series or is not interesting to them, but your real fans always stay around. And I will say, like, I can attest to this as someone whose relationship with YouTube is hot and cold. So like when I come back, like, you guys are always here. I don't know if it's me that y'all are coming back for, or if it's just the fact that no one else talks about Webtoon content. Like, the day that someone blows up on YouTube and talks about Webtoon stuff is the day that I'm just like, all right, there's all my following. I would still make content. I just enjoy yapping on lives, to be honest. Dede said, I just censor and use the funnel system. It is what it is. I've resigned and probably for the best. Yeah, I feel that. Sometimes Webtoons has the right to run their platform however they want. Like, if somebody decides to make an adjustment, we can't be too mad at them because it's within their right. Like, they can do what they want to do. Does it suck? Yeah, but like, let's try and just do some workarounds for it, like, if possible. Kaisen said, Day, what's the funnel system? Sorry, I don't know that. Oh, let me answer this. So an easy thing to explain a funnel system is it's basically you have something like a YouTube video, an Instagram post, and then somewhere in that post you tell the people to go to something. Like, if I'm like, hey, at the end of my video, I say, and check out my Patreon, we're going to be live streaming this Sunday. I'm funneling you from my YouTube channel to my Patreon to check out something on a completely separate site. So funnels are just like ways to let fans know of additional content somewhere else that you post. So you're just like, it's a trickle down. So if you have a big following on something and you want them on something else, you're just trying to move them from platform A to platform B. That's all. Are said, I definitely believe, wait, what are y'all talking about? Oh, you're talking about the manga thing. Got it. I feel like I need to sometimes watch what I say. Oh man. Okay. Vero said, probably already have it on several sites and it can't hurt. Oh, Zucchini! They said, I'd 100% come back for you, Apollo. Yes! You guys crack me up so hard. Okay, let's look at our... Should we read this person's response to their response? I feel like we should. So they say, pay as an original would definitely be more consistent. That being said, it is not a lot of money. Ooh, I think this is the first time I've ever heard somebody be like, It's not a lot of money on originals. There have been posts from original creators saying they're getting paid around 800 per episode, so 50 to 70 panels, and they have to pay assistants out of pocket. This is done on a weekly schedule. Okay, so that's the thing too. Like, you have to think about, like, you owe people money for helping you with the comic. So that $800 is quickly getting sucked down because now, as a 1099, you're a business. So you have to pay them. And if you pay them a certain amount, like you have to let the government know. So there's a lot that goes into this that I'm just like, like, you gotta go unprepared. Okay. I don't remember where I stopped at. Okay, here we go. It really depends on what you want. Being a Webtoon original brings more prestige and reputation for your resume. Okay, pause right there. Like, I'm gonna be honest. And so you guys can fight me in the chat if you want to. But a lot of times I feel like the reason why people want to be Webtoon originals is because it sounds good. Like, when you tell somebody, like, oh, I'm a webcomic creator, it's just like, okay. But then, like, if you tell them, yeah, I work for Webtoons, and like people look up Webtoons, they're like, wait, you work here? Like what? Like, what do you do? Oh, I have a story on there. I post a comic. Like, it seems very official, very like, and there's just like this big stigmatism in the world about like artists being a starving artist. Like, artists are like, I feel like people feel like we're the original like con artists, like we're the original swindlers or something, because like sometimes people act like being an artist and having a passion or wanting to share your stories with people is just like the ultimate affront to their existence. They're like, how dare you want to share your art with me? How dare you be passionate about something outside of the norm? And it's like, what, bro? Like, I mean, I just like to draw silly characters doing silly things, and sometimes they go pew pew. So it's just like, what are we talking about? So that's why I think sometimes like people want to be originals because it sounds good. Like, working with the studio just sounds good. So sometimes I want to like tell creators but I feel like it's hard to have that conversation with people that you don't know very well and be like, it sounds like your ego is talking. Like, that's the automatic way to like push somebody away, especially if you genuinely want to help them. So it's like, I say this to anybody who wants to be an original and thinks about all of the cons, and the cons outweigh the pros. And I just want you to be like, is it be a prestige thing or ego thing? Like, is it just the fact that you want that title? And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it does look good, and I do think that there are ways to finesse it in a way that you can get the title but not be locked in with them for a million years. So I'm just putting it way out there that this is one of those times where you have to do some deep self-reflection, and nobody can answer if you're doing this for selfish reasons or not. I mean, we're all doing our own stories for selfish reasons, but I mean, being like, I can only be a Webtoon original when there's so many other comic companies you could work with. Okay, let's continue. So, if you want to continue working in this field, and possible opportunities for TV adaptations, which, see, that is something that I'm like, if I ever got the call from Webtoons, I want to know, like, what are the odds of me ever getting a book deal from this? What are the odds that I'm going to get a TV deal from this? Like, how does that process work? Like, explain this to me before I sign the contract. Oh, you can't explain it to me? Like, I don't know if I want to do this then. There's just like so many variables that I would want to know before signing the contract, because like, if there's no possibility, or if it depends on something, like I need to reach a certain view count or a certain sub count, and then it's like on the table, like, what's the, ideal situation for you to invest in me getting printed product through your publishing house? Like, can I print my own books? Like, all of this is like super important, but I feel like it's not always looked at when like the opportunity arises. It's just like, all right, now you need to do what we say because we own you and we own this series for 5 years. Okay. So, but you have to work on a tight schedule, and Webtoon has more control over your story. Doing it yourself is hard, and you need a lot of discipline, but you own all your rights and can do whatever you want. So, I want to dive into this, and I feel like every Webtoon Originals experience is a little bit different. So they said Webtoons has more control over your story. I feel like this is yes and no. Like, I feel like Webtoons is going to try to get you to create the story in a way that's going to benefit their platform. So they're trying to help you to an extent, but it might not be your vision, which I can understand. So I'm just like, I've heard so many different things from different people because it's all like there's so many different perspectives. Like when you're dealing with the creative space, like I've heard people talk about the editor from Ordeal and how they really liked her and how like she really believes in series and all of this stuff. And I've heard like different things about other editors and whatnot and their perspectives, how they're like really hands-on versus really hands-off. And so it's just kind of like some of it boils down to the editor and who you get teamed up with. I've heard that some people never hear from their editor except for like very like business type stuff like HR or like paperwork, and it's like this doesn't have anything to do with my story. So I'm just like, I feel like this can really vary. Like, does Webtoons have more control over your story? To an extent, but we've seen like originals have a lot more leadway with things like violence and nudity and sexual gratification and things like that. So I'm just like, I don't know, guys. Like, I think it just depends on what you're trying to do. Is what you're trying to do diabolical? Because sometimes I feel like Webtoons be letting people get away with diabolical stuff. I'm just saying, like some of those imports, I'm like, bro, what's the rating for this? NC-17? Like, please, come on now. Okay. So then they say, another thing I want to ask is, are you willing to wait for Webtoons? There is a high possibility Webtoons will never reach out to make you an original. Ooh, this question. This is like a 10 toes down question. Are you going to keep waiting for them? For how long? I don't think it's smart to rely on them, so you need a backup plan. If you'd like to check out my comic, I have links in my bio. Good luck. So, okay. I agree with this because just because Webtoons doesn't reach out to you doesn't mean your story is bad. Doesn't mean it's good, but I'm just saying, like, if Webtoons, if you don't have a direct line to Webtoons, then I feel like you should be reaching out to everybody. And I feel like I've been stressing this so much. If you want to work with a Webtoon company, like, look up all the companies, look up where your niche is, and like, bro, reach out to them. Like, figure out how to reach out to them. Do something. Like, there is a friend that I have that I'm like really impressed by sometimes, and I just feel like their journey in entering the comic space, it just shows like you just got to get out there and network, like real talk, for real. So based off of this discussion so far, I feel that working with Webtoons isn't necessarily worth it unless you get a good deal. And I think that it can offer a lot of exposure, but I think a lot of people get stuck in wanting to tell the story that they're telling. I personally would pitch Webtoons a story I have no, like, I enjoy it, but not enough that I'm willing to wait 5 years to keep working on it. Like, I would want to be like, okay, that story can stay in jail for like 20 years. Like, I don't know if I would ever pitch them Queen's Games. Like, maybe I would pitch them an AU of Queen's Games and be like, okay, you guys can have fun with this, just so that I could still build off of that Webtoon and be like, oh, if you want to read this side quest story, it's here on Webtoons. There is a mangaka, not mangaka, a novelist, JKS Manga, and he has series across multiple platforms. Like he's on Pocket FM, he's on Webtoons, he has his own series on Amazon, and all of these stories are set in the same universe. And so what I think is really cool about his business strategy is like, because it's so diversified, like you can find a story that you really enjoy on any of these platforms. But when like right now I'm reading his series that he's posting on Amazon, like just buying the books. And what's interesting about this is like when I looked him up, I was like, oh, you have stuff on Webtoons. And so now I'm reading his Webtoon, and I was like, oh, you have something on Pocket FM, like a free audiobook site. I was like, oh, so it's just like he's diversified himself so much that he has multiple revenue streams, and they're all set in the same universe, and they're within the same like type of story. So it's just kind of like you're building on the knowledge you already have. It's super smart, like super interesting. So I feel like, you know, if you do have like a darling or a baby that gets trapped in Webtoons jail, can you make an AU off of it? That would be really cool. Like that would be a way to keep like the passion going. Maybe it's of like a different part, like maybe it's in the future, maybe it's in the past, like maybe you talk about like a war in your story, or you talk about like maybe like there's a couple in your story, like a mom and dad, and you're telling their love story. Like I think about Fruits Baskets, how they ended up making a story about Toru's mom and dad. Like you would so do stuff like that I think would be really cool, and you could keep the universe alive. So when you finally get the Webtoon back, it would be like, okay guys, like I'm wrapping up Toru and mom's dad story, and then following that the next month we're gonna pick up with the finale of Toru's story. Like that would be genius. That's big brain. Oh my good grief, I think we've cracked the code on that one. Okay, let's see what this person said. A Webtoon artist I follow on Patreon said that even though Webtoon allows breaks, they will penalize creators who take too many, especially if their performance drops. So series they originally promoted will no longer get as much exposure. Basically, Webtoons is really profit driven, corporation, and they care more about their customers than the creators. That's very normal. Like that's why product quality goes down for a lot of things, because customers want the products faster, and higher quality items take longer to make. So if the customers are clamoring and you're selling out all the time, then they're going to be like, we need it faster and we need it cheaper. So that's just basic business. I'm sorry. And I think it should be different in a creative field, but I don't think any of the accounting bros, I don't think any of the finance bros will ever see it that way. Basically, Webtoons is really profit driven, and they care more about their customers than the creators. It is way too common that many artists fall ill or sick due to demanding schedules and are forced to take breaks or go on hiatus to take care of themselves. It is sad and isn't worth risking your health. If you really want to create a Webtoon, do it independently on your own site or even Patreon, where you can make your own schedule and go at your own pace. This would also, so I think the thing that I disagree with this, like I agree with like 95% of what they said here. What I disagree with is the fact that you have to realize that just because you go independent and you decide to become your own business or whatever, like you're still like you still have to cater to your audience to an extent, because like if you promise them like weekly episodes and you don't deliver weekly episodes, they're gone. If you promise bi-weekly and you don't deliver bi-weekly, why would I keep giving you money and I'm not getting what was promised to me? So that's where I'm like, you're still beholden to your customer, your readers to an extent. Like it's like there's a lot of thought that needs to go into your business model if you go independent. Like my brain was like buffering just then. I don't know if y'all could hear it, but that's what was going on. Okay. Let's see. Let's check comments real quick. Okay. Vero said, yeah, the more official you look, the more serious certain companies will take you. That's very true. Also, the fact that I will say this, if you do work for Webtoons, now you have a reference. So like whatever company you go to, if they so desire, they can ask about you. Hey, were they employed? You know, whatever the rules are for, you know, talking to an employer. So that's where I'm just like, yeah, there are benefits to working with a professional team. Now you have a legitimate reference other than just your portfolio. Kaylee Blue said, a lot of people just think it will be a good income and easy to obtain, kind of like the thread OP. They just think they can do it without any proof. I think sometimes people just don't realize the business side of things. Like, I think people think like a good story and good art means that you're going to be successful. And that's just not always the case. Like, there's a lot that goes into making a business successful. And when you're a Webtoon creator, you're kind of a business. Like, just being honest. Oh yeah, I agree with Day Day. Day Day said if you get more attention, you'll get more attention if you position yourself right. Yes, yes. Understanding who your target audience is, who your reader base is, super important. Like, especially if you're trying to make money. Oh, Boom, what's up? No, you're not late. You're never late, Boom. Vero said, yeah, I've hung out with the creators of Skullgirls and did many things I never expected to do. So getting yourself out there can open up opportunities, even if random. Yup. Just get out there. Just say hello. Oh my good grief. Andy, yeah, I heard it. Andy, why are you always on my neck? My neck is beat up by Andy all the time. Like, there is no hope for this thing. Okay, let's see what OP had to say in response to this. OP is responding to a lot of stuff. They said, I've experienced something like this in the past, had an operation go wrong, and got stuck, unable to work for ages. The comic I was working on at the time suffered and wound up on indefinite hiatus because I couldn't get the numbers back up again after the break. I'd like to think I'm prepared enough to avoid something like this happening again, but you can never know what's coming, really. And I was so upset at the time to be unable to work on the series that I made that it made me worse. The additional pressure from Webtoons wouldn't be too helpful. I suppose that is why I'm so cautious. I'd like to be able to commit more time to this new series because it means a lot to me, and I'm going to get it done eventually one way or another, but it would certainly make life easier if I can make enough money to focus on Webtoon alone rather than having to do a bunch of other projects at the same time. Thank you for your input. I really appreciate it. So what I will say to OP is I feel like a good test is to try and be a Webtoon original now. Like, I think they require 70 panels for like any genre besides comedy. So I will say, I mean, I could be wrong about that, but I'm just saying, see if you can produce, like, work as a Webtoon original. See if you can keep the schedule going for at least a month. Like, and if you can keep it going for a month with like a full-time job and your other responsibilities, I think to a certain extent you could probably use that as a point of reference to gauge if being an original would be realistic for you. And that probably would be really hard to do just because of the fact that I feel like working at, like, making those 3 episodes for that Webtoon dumb contest was almost impossible. I almost did not make the deadline. Like, I was so upset about that contest deadline. Like, they had me almost in tears when I was trying to upload, and then they extended it. I was pissed. Oh, let's not talk about it. We don't talk about this. Lucian said 50 is the minimum for my series. I think I'm allowed to say that because anyone can count my panels, so it should not be a problem to share. Oh, 50 is pretty good. Okay, 50 panels is still a lot, to be honest, but that is a nice point of reference. Maybe it varies between different series or different genres. I could totally see that. I don't know. I don't remember where I'm getting 70 from. So take that with a grain of salt. So I don't know. I don't know. Vero said, learn which of your characters are the most popular and for what reason. Then make not safe for art of them to sell on the side. Makes at least 1,200 if done right. Vero, are these your like secret tips? Are you making almost $1,200 extra by selling your not safe for work characters? Boom said, I need to start counting my panels. Yes, count your panels, my guy. Lucian said, I remember 70 in some contests. Yeah, I remember it in contests too. I don't, like, I feel like an original told me that though. Like, I feel like somebody told me that their panels, it had to be at least 70. I could be confusing it with contests though. So our response was, I am not an artist, but to me, this sounds like you should draft out a bunch in advance and then work hard for about a year. And then once you have a following, you can go more by your own schedule. I feel like I understand what this person is saying. I just feel like, yes, you should definitely work and plan and edit and beta read and alpha read and do all of those things. But I will say that they make a good point in this topic where they say building a following, that also takes a lot of work. And I think sometimes people underestimate like social media, but that stuff can be so annoying and so draining. So like you just have to go into it with the strong mindset, because it will destroy you. So, and building a following can be so hard because sometimes it's like you're casting into the void, and sometimes you're posting like very similar stuff to other people and you're just like, why is this not working? So that's where I'm just like, building a following is hard. It's hard. So like building a following plus making your comic, like all of that needs to, like, you've just got to figure it out. Like, and that's where I'm just like, relying on yourself. Webtoons, even once you become an original, so many originals I feel like complain about the fact that Webtoons isn't providing them with enough help. If the creator of Let's Play is like, y'all are not doing me justice, and leaves, and they're one of their top performers, like, what the heck? Like, it should just be a warning sign and a wake-up call to everybody, in my opinion. All right, Vero, have a good night. Day said, I had to start early for the contest, but even then, vertical scrolling is not for the weak. Bruh, it's not. It's diabolical as well. Like, the vertical scroll and like making those panels flow and all of that, it's super powerful. Okay. Starry Locket. Okay, another poster. In this sub, I've seen pretty bad stuff about Canvas pay for artists and such, but I'm no expert on that aspect. All I can say is be careful what you sign up for. From a reader's perspective, I tend to treat Webtoons more lightly than traditional comics. So if you're into making silly or cliche stuff, then it's probably better, because I'm more tolerant since it's free and all. But I'm not recommending Webtoons to people IRL like I would with manga, so there's that. See, that's another thing too. Like, manga in like this community space where like anime is adjacent, manga's adjacent to this, webcomics, Webtoons are still looked down upon, and I feel like people like there's like a tinted view sometimes from people that like, this is just like silly cute stuff for like the girlies, but I'm like, this stuff can go just as hard as manga. like when in a couple of years when we have like master artists, like, I'm not saying there aren't master artists already on Webtoons, but like, I don't think there's anybody that's like a Miyazaki yet on Webtoons. But when we get some series like that, Webtoons is gonna be like, and ours is in color. Like, I'm waiting for that day. So it could rise up and overtake the mangakas. Not gonna happen. Like, people are gonna be like, black and white always. Okay. So what did she say? Which is completely prejudiced on my end. I'm glad you acknowledged that, Starlocket. But it's just the difference between a medium that's known for quick, cliche stories and maybe poorly directed live action rom-coms. See, that's another thing. True Beauty, like, oh my god, which the live action, according to Maddie, is so much better than anything, than the webtoon and the anime. Versus a medium that eventually produces most of my favorite shows with deeper themes. Oh my good grief. Like, I'm not trying to roast Star Locket, but bruh, like, I want to know what you're watching or reading that has deeper themes. Like, oh, let me not say this. I'm trying not to roast people as much as I used to, but bruh, I swear, if they any story can have a deeper meaning. I'm just saying. I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna move on. Not people being like, I respect your opinion. I'm gonna move on from this. I should not read any more of this. It's gonna bring out the roaster in me, and I don't want to roast anybody. Like, let's jump down. Let's see if we can jump down a little further. Let's see. Do we have any more decent comments? Oh, okay. Okay, so this person said, if you are looking to be a professional artist, no, because you will have deadlines and often be hungry. If you are looking to be an amateur artist, yes, because you will take your time and you will have a life on the side. Concerning the format of your works, the Webtoon format is easy to read because it is adapted to scrolling down, but you have other platforms, Global Comics, for example, that even have versions of DC Comics that are remade for vertical, plus new works only in vertical. There are people, they look as big as Webtoon. You also have Tapest big ones too. Oh my good grief. Like, reading this, I'm not understanding anything. Like, my reading comprehension just like went to zero. I'm like, what are they saying? From the point of view of the reader, the Webtoon format is obvious once you have tried it. And from the point of view of the artist too. Why am I not understanding what this person is saying? I'm struggling so hard with this. Like, am I just like, am I zapped? Am I zapped for the night? Like, what's happening? It is 2024, and if the comic book format has evolved, it is not for nothing. What are we talking about? Like, my brain is not working. I'm moving on from that. I don't know what was happening. Like, I was not understanding. Like, were y'all understanding this? I'm so confused. I'm trying to read this and like interpret it, but my brain, it's just not working. Okay. So let's read one more comment and then we'll move on. Like that, I feel like I was in a fever dream just then. Like, I don't even know what happened. Okay, let's read this one. I love Webtoon, and it's the only thing I read. Really, I don't read manga. I've heard stories of artists not being treated well by Webtoon, and I think it's sad. But people still sign up with them for originals, so it can't be too bad. So I will say this. I feel that whenever you are signing up to work with the corporation, like, unless they are like really abusing you, it's probably not that bad. Like, you're probably annoyed about a lot of things, but at the end of the day, sometimes it's kind of like you kind of knew. I don't know. Like, I feel like that's not a good excuse either to be treated bad or be underpaid. I just feel that a lot of people feel that it's not going to be as bad as it is, and that like when they hear, you know, oh, I'm going to make $1,000 an episode, that's so much money, $4,000 a month. But I think once you get into it, sometimes like the only way to understand something is to do it or be a part of it. And I think that's what happens a lot of times when people are entering into the Webtoon space. Like, no matter how much you hear, you just can't understand how drawing every day could be so hard, how doing, you know, something that you love, working on your passion project could be so hard. And I think that's where, like, we just have to balance the business brain with the creative brain, because obviously, like, any of us, if anybody came up to you and was like, hey, I would love to fund your series weekly, all you have to do is give me one chapter a week and I will give you $800. Like, I think all of us would be like, yes, absolutely. And then like you start doing the work and you realize, wait, like, oh my God, like this is much more harder than I thought it would be. And so that's where I think like so much of it, like, it just discombobulates the brain, because I think none of us truly understand how difficult it is until we're doing it. So let's finish what they said. As a reader, I love the app and I try to support the authors I love by buying coins and fast passing their series. I don't know how much it helps them. I think Webtoons might be good for getting your work out there. I agree. I think Webtoons could be a great place. Any Webtoon platform could be a great place to get your stuff out there and seen amongst millions of people. Especially if you get a translation or you get an anime or a novel or physical copies, like all of that will just keep pushing you forward, keep pushing your career forward as a artist slash creator. I think Webtoons might be good for getting your work out there. I'm just a reader though, so yeah. Edit. I think Webtoons are really easy to access and read on the app, so that makes things easier for readers. You can also read most things for free, which is nice. I hate Daily Pass though. And see, I feel like this is such a good post because I feel like this is a typical reader response. Like, they're like, I love Webtoons, love reading on Webtoons, I like reading for free, and it is what it is. So that's why I'm just like, I think also understanding how readers are going to approach your content is important as well. Like, if readers have in their mind that something should already be free to them, or I shouldn't even say readers, I should say consumers. Like, it would be like going to, you know, Walmart or Sam's, going to Sam's or Costco or Whole Foods, wherever they sell samples, and them being like, that sample will be $1. You're gonna be like, heck no, samples are free. So, and I think that's how like Webtoons has conditioned a lot of their readers. So that's just something to be aware of. I love seeing comments from readers on Webtoon threads just because I want that perspective so much more. Like in anime and whatnot, you get a lot of readers' perspectives because there's so many people making content for it, and we just don't have enough of that yet in the Webtoon space. And obviously, you know, perspectives are, you know, biased and skewed and all of that good stuff, but I think that not good stuff, but I just mean like, I just think that it's important to understand like some perspective, to be somewhat in touch with how readers feel, because if you're wanting your series to be successful, and if Webtoons want your series to be successful, understanding the reader experience is important. There's probably so much more we could tap into on this page, but I just feel like we're pushing an hour, and I don't want to keep you guys here all night. I know a lot of you probably would be like, yes, let's do that. Okay, there's one more here. I want to read this one. It says, but people still sign up with them for originals, so it can't be too bad. Yes, it can be that bad. As the other person here said, they go after young/naive artists that don't entirely realize what they are getting into. I would agree and disagree with this, because I've met some of these artists and I'm like, they are not young, and I don't necessarily think they are naive. I think they try to game the system and realize that Webtoons is like, you can't game us. like I do think that they do, you know, hire young artists, and they do hire naive artists as well, but I think it's just a melting pot of the experience of like, it can't be that bad. Like, I really think that's the mentality sometimes. It's like, it can't be that bad. I know people keep saying this. When we finally get a legitimate whistleblower to come out, which low key, I feel like the Covenant creator is on the precipice of being that whistleblower. And I feel like legalese or some contracts or something, some like NDAs or something have stopped them from saying things. But If you guys have not checked out the the Covenant creators video about their experience of, you know, posting on Webtoons and trying to blow up on Webtoons, and like they have always been super vocal about their, you know, fight against Webtoons and how like how they felt like their experience was so unfair. So it would be a nice perspective to get if you have not studied up on that creator and their journey, because they have been very vocal and very public about it. But then you have other creators that, you know, haven't really said anything per se negative about their experience, but like I think like Instant Miso, for one, is a creator who has pretty much had a pretty good experience on Webtoons from everything that I've read. I can't say for certain, but like they're on like their third or fourth series now with Webtoons. Webtoons seems to keep renewing them. They seem to keep doing really good on the platform. So, and they seem to keep coming back, so they must enjoy it. So I just feel like everybody's experience can be right and wrong at the same time, because like when we're on this creative path, it's not straightforward. Like it winds, it bends. There's all of these interesting expectations when it comes to, you know, being a creator that we place on ourselves and place on the stories that we're creating. All right, so with that, we're gonna wrap up the conversation there. I'm just saying, like, I could probably yap about this forever. So quickly, my question to the community is, if this is you, why do you want to be a Webtoon original? And if you don't want to be one, I would love to know that as well. Comment down below, please. Okay, so we'll do question and comments very briefly. Maybe we'll do like 15 minutes of that if there are any questions. And if not, totally chill. I mean, we can just go from there. Let's see. Dede said, I aspire to be so rich to fund people's comics and projects like a patron of the arts of all. No, that's what I want to be, Dede. Like, I want to open my own publishing house. Like, I would love to do that and be like, ha ha ha, ha ha ha, ha 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 ha. Like, I am the progenitor of the Webtoon. Zucchini said, I can barely post once a month. I would die if I had to post once a week. Ooh, Zucchini, your art must be gorgeous. I needed to scroll up, but I'm just gonna stay here. Yes, Dave, please fund all of us. That's legit the vibe. Hiram said many of their originals are censored versions of already existing not safe for work mom was. Interesting. Data said my second dream is to be Apollo's whistleblower. Yes. I'm just saying this. If any originals out there ever want to give me some tea, I will leave you anonymous. You can literally just write to me exactly what you experience, and I will just read it on stream like I would a Reddit post, offer my own comments and stuff. Like, I wouldn't even have the post on screen. Like, it would just be like me in like a suit and tie, and you in a silhouette with a question mark on the face and a mic in between us, and I would literally just be reading whatever you sent me. And please, I see, the reason I feel like nobody can whistleblow at Webtoons is because all the contracts are different. So if somebody if somebody says something, like if they gave information to like a reporter or something, Webtoons will be able to narrow down who it was by the details of the contract. And I feel like Webtoons would easily be able to be like, because I'm so small, someone could sit through and go through all of my, like, this person would have to contact me through like a third party. We would have to meet like on a park on a bench, and they would have to like slide the paper to me. Like, Webtoons would be like, we checked all of Apollo's followers, they're not following each other. We've contacted them, like we open, like they give us access to their social media. Like I feel like the Webtoon spies would be out. I wish I knew somebody that could deliver tea like that. Like, I never want to ask any of the originals that I know, be like, hey, what's the tea? Like, like I I just don't think that's for me, to be honest, but I really want some juicy tea. I know there's some. Sub said, really? Where were the original posts? I ask out of curiosity. They have a YouTube channel, so you can check it out there. And they also were posting about it on Twitter like years ago. Like, I want to say at least 2 years ago. They posted on Twitter about how Webtoons wasn't advertising their comic, and it was pissing them off. Danny said, I wouldn't want to give up IP rights. Danny, I didn't know you were writing anything. What series are you working on? Danny, are you coming to the dark side? Do you want to become a creative? I would love this. Please, Daddy, share with the class what your story is. Maverick, did I miss it? Yeah, we're entering the ending phase of the stream. I'm sorry. Lucian said, I want to be one for visibility. My webtoon posted it on Canvas by myself, 200 views. My original series, 800 views so far. So it has been a tremendous help for actually being seen. First-hand experience right there. So if you guys don't know, Lucian is the creator of Scale Hunters. So they are the winner of the Webtoon 2022 call to action. What is it called? I think that was the name of the contest. Like my mind is blanking. So, you know, they have some firsthand experience. So I'm just saying, like, there's the numbers for you right there. Lucian, you need to like write down all of your stats. I feel like that could be helpful to some people who want to understand or add an extra perspective to becoming an original, like going from Canvas to originals. Kaisen said, I want to tell my story. If Webtoons can help me, then so be it. If they can't, then I'll find my own way. But that's also my point too, is like, don't let Webtoons be the only studio you reach out to. Like, even some of these smaller companies, if you get in good with them, you can become like the face of that company, and that company probably would be indebted to you for, you know, taking a leap of faith with them. Like there's like a lot that goes into some of the social dynamics. And I know that sounds kind of transactional, but this is also business, and business is transactional. So, but you don't have to, you know, be a part of business, and you could legitimately just like a platform and want to help that platform out. So, you know, do whatever you feel comfortable doing. Andy, I thought you were leaving. You've been here the whole time. I knew you couldn't stay away from me. I just hope one day I can complete making a comic from beginning to end. I mean, I'm already upset with you, Andy. Are you continuing the series that I want? Like, when are you going to give us more Silas? Like, that's all I care about. Boom said, I don't want to be an Webtoon original. Webtoon would hate the story I'm trying to tell. You never know. They might like it. But, I mean, I'm glad that you know what you want to do. Kaisen said, I'm not sure what that's referring to. Poyo said, I feel like becoming an original would potentially kill my passion. That's why I think you should do it short term. Like, I feel any creator, I would only do a season. So 1 to 2 years, and then I'd be like, I'm done. And I would go off, and I would have built my following in that time, and I would go off and just have me a good old time trying to keep that momentum going with my own projects behind the scenes. Kaylee Blue said, I could be an original with a writer. Oh, nice. So you want to be mostly an artist. That's smart. Zucchini said, I would love to be an original, but I feel like I'd burn out so quick. I think you just have to plan accordingly. And honestly, I feel like for me, let's say they reached out to me today. I probably would just hire somebody out to be an artist. I wouldn't quit my job, and I would just focus on the writing. And I would probably just give my entire check from Webtoons to my artists. Like, if it was $800, I would just give them the check. I'd be like, here you go. Because, like, I can keep working at my full-time job, and I could come home and work on the script every day if I needed to, and still have like possibly weekends off, or maybe have like half of my weekend. Like maybe I could wake up Saturday morning and work on it in the morning, or work on it in the evening or something like that, and still have like a pretty balanced life. And then once, if the series took off, I would then be able to have like a lot of that free time where, I can quit my main job and work on the comic full time. So maybe I could draw more or be a part of the art process or whatever, and just figure it out from there. Or who knows, maybe I would just keep paying that artist and then pitch Webtoons another series, and then I'd have 2 series going at the same time. So maybe I could be the artist of that one. But like essentially, I mean, I feel like you just have to be strategic. And I just feel like for me, my I could not live off of that amount of money, and I feel like it would at least $800 a week to if somebody's doing all of the drawing. Like it would definitely be at a detriment for me, but I do think I could build so much off of it. So I feel like you just have to go at things strategically. Maybe you hire a writer, like, and you do all of the art. Like if you were going to work on your comic for free anyway, like there's just so many variables to this that I feel like you have to figure out what's going to work for you. Maybe you just need someone to do the coloring. Like you could hire somebody for that. There's just a lot of angles to go down for this. Boom sent mainly because my stories would be too dark. Are we talking Promised Neverland dark? Like how dark are we talking, Boom? Sub said, I would love to be an original, but I don't want to work in color outside of covers. Too much work. You could hire somebody to do the colors. Maverick said, who won 2025? They're what is their name? What was it? Covenant Once Given? I can't remember the name of the creator, but it was also in the action series. Day said, oh yeah, I covered that incident with Explodey Kid's physical book on one of my videos. That was stupid of Webtoons. Yes. Day link the video so that people can watch it after this. So if you need a video that explains what happened with Explodey Kid, like Day does an amazing job of explaining that. Sub said a previous originals reactor won the 2025 contest. I don't think they've been an original before. I think they had worked on originals. So oh, okay, gotcha. A previous originals creator. I don't know why I couldn't figure that out. I must be tired. A previous originals creator won the 2025 contest. But, like, I don't think they have a series. Like, I'll have to double check that. But, yeah. Danny said, not anytime soon, but for fun, I have started a script for a detective comedy. Ooh, I love a good comedy. I'm working on a comedy this year, too. Danny, we are kindred spirits today. Kaylee Blue said, I have 1.4 views and 63k subs. Oh, nice. 4.1 million on Canvas. That's really good. That's awesome. Those stats are crazy. Andy said, I was in and out of the stream, but I always lurk. My favorite lurker. Pat. I'm patting your head. Hiram said, I would love to be an original, but I don't want someone telling me what I can and can't do with my story. But, I mean, if you hire an editor, that's what an editor is going to do. Like, if you get beta readers, that's what beta readers are going to do. Like, and I will say this. I think it depends on what they tell you to cut. Because, like, there was an example that Grave Weaver gave when they were working on their series. And they were talking about they were saying that their editor wanted them to change something. And Grave was like, no, I'm not changing it. I know my fans will like it. And they, like, hard stopped them. They were like, no, I'm not changing anything. And they posted it and it was successful. But the thing of it is you have to be humble enough that if you end up being wrong and the editor or whoever it is correct, and they tell you, like, especially if your series is not performing well, like, maybe take their advice to an extent to possibly pivot to change things. Because at the end of the day, everyone's just trying to be successful to an extent. Like, that editor wants to probably be successful at their job. Webtoons want you to be successful to an extent, because what was the point in us hiring you or buying your series or whatever you want to call it if you're not going to make us any money? So I think like sometimes people are like very opposed to that process, but I'm just like kind of embrace some of it. Like, even with like mangaka, I think like the editor mangaka relationship is really important, and the editor really helps to refine the series. But I mean, like, if it's something dumb, like the person's like add abs, like that's not gonna necessarily affect the story. It does play into like the fandom on Webtoons, but is it necessary? No, but I mean, it could help, you know, for you to get like double the comments that you normally get. So it's all a numbers game sometimes with these platforms. Maverick said, I'm currently on page 68 of my webcomic script, and I'm still in the beginning phase of the story. I'm excited and scared for the actual art part. You're on page 68 of the beginning phase. Like, what do you mean? Like, that sounds kind of scary. I'm just saying. That sounds scary. Kaylee Blue is always coming with the flex. Like, don't underestimate them. Kelly Blue said, I thought it was asked. I guess not. I could have asked it. I don't remember. Like, I'm entering a delirious mode. It's almost midnight here. So who knows if I asked it or not. I don't even remember what I said to you, Maverick. Like, this is a sign that the late night stream, like, it's time for me to go to bed. So we've got 1 more minute. So, you know, shout yourself out if you want before I hop off. Say whatever you need to say, because we're going to be wrapping up the stream. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight. I hope you all have been enjoying it. Kyson said, abs not necessary. I don't know what to believe anymore. Listen, in the Apollo Academy, abs are always necessary. Okay, guys. So don't beat me up too hard, but I really want to get one of those Webtoon heads. Like, you know, where they have like the Webtoon head and the Wattpad head. I really want to get one because I'm hitting the gym super hard to try and get abs for the summer. And I'm just like, I would love to have that Webtoon head and do like body reveal, and it'll just be the Webtoon head and then like a full 6-pack. Like, I can already, I feel the power of the 6-pack coming. Would that not be the most epic reveal ever? You guys would have to like rate me 10 out of 10 for the abs. The dedication. I don't care if the abs aren't amazing. Like, y'all just need to be like, they're amazing. I really want to do this. I really want to do this. Oh my good grief. I'm not going to do it. I'm embarrassed to do things like that, but I'm just telling you, the gym bro life over here is going super hard. I think it would be hilarious. Kyson, you must have abs in your series. I'm just saying. Boeing said, I feel like my main story might be acceptable, but there's some really messed up scenes like Promised Neverland, even though they'll be mostly censored. I feel that. Yeah. Kyson, we gotta hit the gym together. Where my gym bros at? Did someone say abs? Yes, ab supremacy, rise up. I've got to do that ab video. All right, guys, I'm going to head out. I'm gonna make an ab post this week. Not of me. But I would be like, give me your top abs recommendations in Webtoons. All right. Let's sign off, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you to all of my amazing patrons. Remember, the last Sunday of the month, we're going to be doing a Patreon stream. I'm not sure if we're going to be drawing, if we're going to watch a video, or if we're just going to do like a writing stream together. But we're going to be doing something productive because I feel like I'm entering my productive era of getting things done. So if you would like to hang out, this will only be for paid members, this stream. So you can donate $1 to join the stream or not. It's up to you. But I will do free Patreon streams in the future, but I want to make sure to give my supporters something special because I really appreciate them and I really appreciate them donating so much to me. What you can do is you can like the video, you can share the video. I feel like shares will help
go a long way in pushing our little community even further. And just, tell a friend. And you can join our Discord. I'm going to have a post about this in the future. I'm going to put it on the channel where you can like join. I'll post it pretty often so people can keep up with it, but I'm really thinking about starting a beta reading group on the Discord so that like we can actually have a space to like actually help people refine their stories and people can get actual advice. I still feel like so many people tell me like they can't find anybody to help them review their series, and I feel like this could be a nice way that we could do this. It'll start out small, so don't expect too much and expect to give more than receive with this, just because like in the beginning we might only do one series a month and it might be left up to fate what series we decide to pick. But I'm just putting it out there that I want to make this a thing. I feel like that would be super fun. I'm still workshopping it, but I will let you know when it is available and it is ready for you to submit your stories to be beta read or critiqued or whatever you want to call it. So I will talk with you guys later. Enjoy the rest of your night, and I hope to see you next Monday. Have a good night.